Hey guys, you're here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and we're still in the series of decoding Crowley's Thoth Tarot and understanding, decoding and understanding. We've been reading non-stop from the very front of this book, which is the Crowley Tarot, the handbook to the cards, okay? And the deck that we're using is this deck. Now, if you're watching this video, I assume that you have this deck, or you're interested in Aleister Crowley or Thoth, Egyptian religion, Egyptian deities, and maybe that's why you want to connect the Thoth Tarot into your witchcraft, or your Wicca, or your magical practice, your paganism. I'm an eclectic herbal witch. I like to practice many different aspects of witchcraft, including but not limited to, you know, the hoodoo, conjure, folk magic aspect. I like to work with the moons. I like to work with so many things. And Scott Cunningham is my father of witchcraft, my herbal guide, if you will. But today, in this video of decoding and understanding Crowley's Thoth Tarot, we're going to be reading not from the Handbook of the Cards written by Crowley and Lady Frida Ares, but in regards to the writer Waite. And why are we reading this in this series? Well, the video prior to this, we just got done reading the section of the introduction to Crowley's Handbook of the Cards, and it was frequently asked questions. So there were quite a few frequently asked questions in this book, and I want to talk about that. We'll also pull this book out in the next few videos when we start talking about, excuse me, when we start talking about the actual cards, okay? Because there are differences. So what I'll be able to do is hold up the full card from the Thoth deck and hold up the full card from the Rider Waite deck, so you can see the difference between the two. Also, other cards are not named the same. The first card, number 1, right after 0, the Fool. The Magus is the Magician, okay? So there's different names for cards. Strength is also different, something else. I believe Lust is something else. There's a lot of differences, so we'll learn those together, okay? So here, out of this book, I'm reading frequently asked questions about tarot reading. And this is tarot reading in general, but this book is based on Rider Waite, so it's probably going to lean toward that, I'm guessing. Alright, we have designed Instant Tarot to provide quick, easy answers to your most common questions. But like all paths that lead to growth, personal strength, and self-awareness, the tarot can often raise more questions than answers as you dive deeper into its mysteries. Here are the most frequently asked questions we have heard during our many years of professional practice. Alright, the first question. How does tarot work when it seems to answer questions so directly? The nearest thing to an explanation of why the tarot works is an ancient theory held by many peoples throughout the world and rediscovered in the 20th century by the legendary psychologist Dr. Carl Jung. Again, we're talking about C.G. Jung, J-U-N-G. His theory of synchronicity, from the Greek syn, meaning together, and chronos, meaning time, so together in time, or time together, proposed that events happening at the same moment had a relationship and significance. In other words, when you ask your question with sincerity and you intend to get an answer, you will get an answer, possibly in many forms. It depends on how good you are at deciphering the events around you at the moment that you ask the question. A flock of birds, a cloud formation, or the pattern of the winds makes in the trees can hold your answer. And I love that because I cloud scry all the time, and since I was a little kid, I thought maybe, and that's a big one, maybe, just maybe, if I saw a flock of birds, it would show me a picture. And I remember thinking and doing these things at 4 and 5 years old, and this is around the time that I actually thought I was crazy because I'm clairaudient. And at that time, I thought I had voices in my head, and I was watching movies, and people in horror movies were having voices in their head, and I thought, oh my god, that's me. I'm crazy. And who knows, I might just be, but no, really. You can find the answer in, cloud formations, the way that the wind makes a sound. That's beautiful. Alright, the tarot is a sort of sacred machine devised to respond to your question and freeze your answer as a picture in time so that you may decipher it. It's Polaroid of sorts. The trick is how to decipher meaning from your deck of tarot cards. And that is precisely what Amy and I have done for you in Instant Tarot. Alright, so let's get to the next question here. Oh, we're done. Instant Tarot. Next question. What if I do not like the answer I receive? Well, that's called life, baby. It's all about getting answers that you don't fancy, huh? That makes us appreciate when good things happen, though. Honestly, that's my super opinion on it is, we wouldn't be able to appreciate the nice little things if we didn't have a bunch of things that aren't appreciable along the way, right? What do I do if I do not like the answer I receive is the question. When this happens, it is important to look inside yourself and see why you are troubled by the answer you have received. That's great advice. And that will really help you do some self-reflection and understanding of your triggers of anger and upset, Do you think you would not be able to cope if things turned out the way the tarot cards are suggesting? That means you need to take some flippant action now, in my opinion. Do you have the confidence in yourself to believe that you can cope with a wide range of experiences? If not, why not? Using the tarot to get in touch with your feelings is one of the most important uses. Yeah, so even if you're not doing readings for someone, for profit, or just for a gift or whatever, do them so that you can see situations that may come up for yourself, even if it's just completely hypothetical and none of it is psychic, and you're just playing with tarot cards to do some self-realization and it has nothing to do with psychic abilities. That's a really lovely card game of self-understanding and realization, and I suggest that to anyone. Do you have the confidence in yourself to believe that you can cope with a wide range of experiences? If not, why not? Using the tarot to get in touch with your feelings is one of the most important uses. The wonderful thing about tarot is that tarot is a wonderful thing. No, I'm kidding. The wonderful thing about tarot is that you can get an unfavorable answer. That if you get an unfavorable answer, you can ask the tarot for guidance about how to change things for the better. To do so, you can think questions A, B, C, D, and E, and J using the 1-card or 3-card spreads. Or use the Celtic cross, phrasing your questions so that you are asking how to change things so that they work out more to your liking. So this book is going to have different spreads than our Crowley handbook of the cards, okay? And, there's so many spreads out there, and a lot of people encourage you, and I encourage you, to make up your own spread based on intuition, And you might even want to do that before you learn too many more. Otherwise, you might have a hard time thinking of one on your own that's not already been done, because it's just planted in your mind, Next question. What if I am not sure what my answer means? The large majority of answers you get using Instant Tarot will make it seem as though the cards picked from your tarot deck are speaking directly to your question. However, there may be times when the answer you receive does not seem to be specifically answering your question. These are the best times for developing your intuition and your ability to make decisions. Let your mind free associate. This term describes the powerful way your conscious mind communicates with your higher self. The source of your inner voice. You guys, that inner voice, please listen to it. Please journal it. In my opinion, it is not just your random thoughts, okay? And if it's loud and interrupts you and your thoughts, that's definitely clairaudience. Because that's how I can tell mine apart, is when I'm thinking and then on top of that something comes in that feels like not a natural thought. But I've been able to kind of develop that on my own over the years because it came at such a young age and because I was like interrupted, really. Maddie knows a lot about that with Eleanor. Eleanor interrupted me a lot when she was here. Okay. Let your mind free associate. This term describes the powerful way your conscious mind communicates with your higher self, the source of your inner voice. It does so using symbols, the language of your subconscious mind, and your dreams. Your first impression upon seeing the image or images of the card or cards you have picked can inspire your imagination to see a further series of images connected to and directed by your higher self. You may experience a flash of intuition. Flashes are another way they come in, is just pictures, kind of, that can reveal the meaning that was hidden from you only a moment ago. In the tarot, the High Priestess is the card symbolizing this process. Cool, that's awesome to know. If you still do not understand the message of the cards, pick the High Priestess card out of the deck and look at it for a moment. Know that she is, and that's something to note in your Book of Shadows or your tarot journal, is that the High Priestess card can do this for you, okay? So if you still do not understand the message of the cards, just pick up the High Priestess card out of the deck, look at it for a moment, know that she is going to guide you as you place her back in the deck and shuffle it while asking for a clarification of the meaning of the reading you were puzzled by, okay? Then pick one card and turn the page listing its meaning. Pick one card and turn to the page in here listing its meaning. It has every single card in here. And it actually in here, this is a cool book because it also says if it's in if it's in the first position, second position, third position, 9th, 10th, 11th, like it does, if this card is in this position, what it means. That's why I fell in love with this book. But it's based on writer Waite, so I'm really trying to focus on the Thoth and Thoth, so I just wanted to do some more frequently asked questions here and comparisons. So, then pick one card and turn to the page listed its meaning. Read position 1, you, and find out what you need to know. And when it goes to position 1, you, it says, it's like that. Okay, so next question. What is the origin of the tarot? There is an old joke told about every kind of scholar. Put 2 of them in a room and you will get 3 opinions. The origin of the tarot and events of its original purpose is a subject upon which even the most learned scholars cannot seem to agree. Some say it started as a pasteboard pictures of various gods and goddesses that were used to teach their divine properties to the illiterate. Subsequently, these picture cards were brought to Europe by travelers from the East. These travelers arrived in an era when everything Egyptian was all the rage. And these newly arrived travelers found it adventurous to be known as gypties. Gyptees. Is that how you spell gypsies? It spells gypties to me. Their descendants are now known as gypsies. God, why don't I just keep reading? Love you guys. My channel is all about me sitting here talking to you like you're my best friend and we're in the room together hanging out. Like, so that's why I don't edit. That's why I'm with you in my purest form. Jen. Me. Oh, lordy. Alright, where are we at? Where are we at? Oh yeah, that theory might account for many people believing that the tarot originated in Egypt, however. There are those that claim tarot came from 10th century China, and there are advocates for Hebrew, Islamic, or Indian origins as well. One thing seems certain. The earliest and most complete deck of tarot cards dates from the early 15th century and is said to have been made for the Duke of Milan. Even the origin of the word tarot provokes argument. Egypt advocates say it is derived from the words tar and ro, meaning royal road. Indian advocates remind everyone else that the word taru means cards in Hindi, and that Tara is the Aryan name for the great mother goddess. These voting for tarot being a product of the Hebrew culture point to the word Torah, the name of the first 5 books of the Bible. However, remember that one of the areas where the cards first appeared was Milan, in northern Italy, where there is a river called the Taro. There are many who believe the first decks were likely to have been used as a card game, as they were for divinatory guidance. There's probably more than a little truth in that. There's a French word, tares, T-A-R-E-S, that is used to describe a small dot border on the playing cards. The tarot came a long way in the 20th century. The wisdom of the cards was an irresistible target for great artists. Once they no longer were afraid of persecution and ridicule, that is. Yeah, of course. Because not a lot of, famous people, artists want to associate themselves, their whole style, look, image with witchcraft, right? With paganism, with Wicca. Because nobody understands it. Like, the vast majority of people just don't understand it. And that it's not all dark and evil. The tarot attracted both famous artists like surrealist Salvador Dali. I want that tarot deck that Salvador Dali made. I'm saying it right now. I need to have it. I had a dream about it last night because I've been just tarot everything. And I found out that he did a deck. He's a brilliant artist. Holy potatoes. So, and those who at the time were not so well known, like Pamela Coleman Smith. However, Salvador Dali has a lot of satanic imagery in his artwork. So, as far as who and who is not a satanic witch, I am not, but Salvador may have been. Salvador also appeared at the Rothschilds' 1972, the big ball that they had, where Audrey Hepburn's head was in a cage and that symbolized MK Ultra mind control. I mean, Salvador Dali was there. Why? And he was close friends with Rothschilds. Women with taxidermy deer heads on their head and then wearing big fancy ball gowns. Like, that's the kind of party I want to be at, but not for the reasons that they were. And you think they were doing spirit cooking? They're doing real cooking, not spirit cooking. Alright, enough about that. Yeah. So where are we at? Tarot came a long way in the 20th century. The wisdom of the cards is irresistible to artists. Yep, right. Dali, Pamela Coleman Smith. Under the watchful eye of Arthur Edward Waite, Pamela Coleman Smith created the artwork for what we now know as the Rider-Waite deck. Crowley and Rider-Waite did not get along. I've read that in the Handbook of the Cards. The most famous tarot deck of the 20th century. We are very proud to add great tradition of tarot artistry within our deck, the Enchanted Tarot. Amy Zerner's NEA award-winning fabric college tapestries and her unique artistic style. To the tarot's many interpretations, blending the essence and the fantasy, fine art and spiritual wisdom. Okay, 2 more questions, and then I'm going to show you a video on how I set everything up before I do tarot, and then we're going to start reading the cards, you guys. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it, so I'm not going to. Alright, the next question is, what is the difference between the major and minor arcana? The tarot may very well have started out as 2 separate decks. A spiritually oriented deck whose purpose was religious instruction and divination, the major arcana. That's the 22 cards, starting with the Fool, okay? And the deck used for gaming and gambling, the minor arcana. And that started out, the minor arcana started out as playing cards, and that's why it's so similar to playing cards with the ace, the queens, the kings, the knights, and the, what's the girl one called? Oh, I can't remember. I think they're called court cards, yeah? So, and so remember, it's like a 52 card type playing card deck plus 22 major arcana cards, which is, you know, the Fool, the High Priestess, the Devil, Death, all along the way, okay, of the journey. Alright, so the major arcana are the first 22 cards of the tarot. What is that noise? Starting with the number 0, the Fool, and going up to the number 21, the World. These cards represent the arcana, or secret spiritual principles of life. We all make the journey from being the Fool, innocent and poisoned on the threshold of a great cycle of growth and experience, and eventually arrive at the World, which is the last of the 22 arcana cards. Our graduation and the culmination of the major period of our life. Between these 2 cards are the 20 other major stages of growth and learning. Once we have gone through them all, once we have made what is known as tarot, or the Fool's Journey, we are ready to start again in our soul's quest for experience and self-knowledge. The minor arcana are the origin of the modern playing card deck. The playing cards has 4 suits: clubs, spades, hearts, and diamonds. That's regular playing cards, okay? And these are the descendants of tarot's traditional 4 suits, respectively, wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. In Crowley's decks, it's discs, not pentacles, okay? That's one of the big changes is within the suits. The Joker in a modern playing card deck is the descendant of the Fool card in tarot, alright? I didn't know that. The cards of the minor arcana are not as concerned with spiritual realities as they are with our everyday earthly reality as human beings. The minor arcana helps us bring the spiritual wisdom of the major arcana down to earth so that we can use it for our benefit on all levels. Next question. Can I do a tarot reading for another person? This question is silly to me because I started out learning, don't do readings for yourself. But it's just because you have a controversial opinion and ego gets in the way and fear gets in the way and all that. So, can I do a reading for another person? Doing tarot readings for your friends is very enjoyable. However, it is usually best to do readings for only yourself when you are first learning. That's not an opinion I follow, you guys. I'm just reading you the answers out of this book, okay? That's not an opinion I follow. For the reasons I just said. Okay, instant tarot is designed so you will learn quickly. You will soon feel comfortable enough trying a reading for another person. When you do, it is best to start with a trusted friend, preferably one open-minded. Eventually, you may feel confident enough to read for anyone, anywhere, anytime. Until then, read and remember the answer to the next frequently asked question, which is, can I do a tarot reading for someone who is not present? Wait until you are comfortable. See, and in this book, when we asked that question, it was like, yes! And then, yes! You know, this one's like very opinionated. I say, do what you feel. Like, if you feel you're ready to do that, then do it. If you feel that practicing this way is best for you, then do that. If you feel that reading for someone else to start out first is what you want to do, then do it. So just really go with how you're feeling on that and your intuition, okay? Can I do a tarot reading for someone who is not present? Wait until you are comfortable with the instant tarot procedure before trying to ask a question for someone who isn't with you at the time you were doing the reading. I guess I'll just finish it. I'm not liking the opinions of this question, to be honest. Okay. Remember that most people do not understand what the tarot really is, a decision-making tool, and do not have the information about becoming an instant tarot reader contained in this book. Make sure the person understands what the tarot really is before attempting or reading for someone else. Tarot readings are powerful and must be done in the way we have indicated in this book. I disagree with that. It is too easy to mislead or frighten and the uninitiated if this advice is ignored. I'm sorry if you guys don't like my opinions on the reading, but that's me. Anyone you read for, present or not present, must be told that the answers he or she receives are only indications of the way things might be. They must understand on their own that free will is more powerful than any tarot reading. There is no reading so good that it cannot be invalidated if someone fails to do what is right. Controversially, there is no tarot reading that is so bad that it too cannot be invalidated by changing the course of doing what is right. The tarot is a very powerful tool, but it is not more powerful than the human being asking the questions. We alone are responsible for our actions. If you remember and can convey this to those who want to do a reading for, then you can rest assured that the readings you do will help to guide others. You will be able to have a lot of fun learning about your life and life in general. That's true. It is tremendous responsibility to do readings for other people, but it is one that Amy and I enjoy even when reading for ourselves, which we do every day. We would like to thank you for giving us a chance to share the precious tarot with you, a gift that has enabled us to make our life's work a great work of art, and our artwork a great work of life. Okay, so when we come into our next video and we talk about, because both books are now ready to go into the 22 cards of the Major Arcana. So, I'm reading out of Crowley's book, and then if you guys request, in another video I can read out of, position 1 of the Fool. This is Rider Waite, though. So, possibly in further videos we'll talk about this. So, in the video to come, we'll be reading all through. The next video coming is me laying out everything and showing you how I personally lay it out, what tools I use around me. It's really exciting to see what I use. And then we'll be coming in with card 0, the Fool. So, there's so much on it. And this is all written by Aleister Crowley, okay? And Lady Frida Harris. Then just translated from German. Alright, come back with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, while we'll be setting up for a tarot reading, and I'll show you just how to set up for readings. Then we'll get into the Fool card. Alright, see me back. Ta!